Hey, this is Tommy the Duke Morrison. Y'all better recognize, follow, and like Base Boxing Basement. This man knows his boxing, so be real and get with him. Aight? Yeah, thank you, Tommy. I was a big Tommy the Duke Morrison fan, man. You know, he was exciting. You know, he was good looking, no homo. You know what I'm saying? He had a left hook that was beautiful. He always went for the KO. There was no messing around. There was no holding with Tommy the Duke. You know? With him, it was kill or be killed. Right? You know, we miss him, man. R.I.P. Tommy the Duke Morrison. He's got a couple of sons that box. And they're okay. They done okay. There's like a Trey Lipe Morrison, a heavyweight, 6'3". He has a record of 18 wins, 17 KOs, one loss by KO in 2021 by an unbeaten guy. And since then, he hasn't boxed. You know, it's like most of these famous boxer sons. They're never going to be as good as their daddy. But I've got a soft spot for Tommy Morrison, you know. He was real. You know, he was red-pilled. Apparently he had HIV, but also his wife delivered a bunch of documents that said he never had it. But, I mean, he loved drugs. He loved pum. You know, so much pum. I remember reading back in the day, his trainers like going, the problem with Tommy, right? He'll train hard for 2 hours a day, and then he'll party for 22 hours. And before he got knocked out by Michael Bent, he was expected to roll through and should have done. You know, he was at a concert getting his drink on. He probably, with a woman, he probably, you know, he got his nut on. You know, he probably went to sleep about 7 a.m., you know. Tommy. He's obviously, as I say, Rocky 5. I did, you know, a bad job in Rocky 5, to be honest. And the other son is called Kenzie Morrison. His real name is James Mackenzie Witt. So obviously they must have different mums, but they both look like him, you know. And Tommy was a good-looking guy. And back in the day, I remember looking at Tommy. And I was like, when he went pro, and I was like, man, these were the days when people didn't really have tattoos, and he was covered in like redneck tattoos. He had a blonde mullet, and I was like, man, he's, you know, I didn't appreciate that hillbilly look. But looking back, I'm like, sweet, respect. You know what I mean? And like I said, it was destroyed by pum. And then drugs later. He went to prison, all this kind of stuff. He died of, well, it's not really quite clear how he died. You know, he had the pectoral implants and, you know, I don't mean to be mean. He's obviously a bit narcissistic. You know, after Rocky 5, which I thought he was very good in. And Rocky 5 is very underrated. The only reason Rocky 5 is whack is it's got Sylvester Stallone's son, Sage Stallone, and there's that really pathetic, whack storyline where he fights the bullies at school. And Sage Stallone died as well, unfortunately. It's quite tragic. But I didn't think it was that bad, especially considering, you know, what happened later. And Tommy won the WBO championship. He never quite... he could have done better. Everyone knows that. But he was exciting, you know. He was charismatic. He was likable. And I believe he fought the Illuminati, and I thought he didn't obey them, and it destroyed him. Anyway, Tommy the Duke, God bless him, R.I.P. But so this is the news. So one of his sons, as I said, his name is James Mackenzie Witt, but he calls himself Kenzie Morrison. He has a record of 22 wins, 20 by way of KO and 1 loss, on points to an average guy. But he has actually scored some decent wins. Hasim Rahman Jr., Hasim Rahman's son. Like I said, the sons are just never as good as the daddies. I mean, unless the daddies weren't that good. Like, say, Floyd Mayweather Sr., he weren't that good. But you know, when you get them top guys, even Kostya Zhu, Tim Zhu did okay, won a world title, but he got ironed out recently. But Kenzie Morrison knocked out Hasim Rahman Jr. in 5 rounds. He beat a couple of unbeaten guys. Sam Shoemaker, who he's not great, but was 5-0 at the time, and he's gone on to do bare knuckle boxing. I don't think that successfully. But you know, it's okay to try. It's okay to try and make your money. The man's 34 now, Kenzie. And this is the horror, though. The horror. He's been matched against Ibeabuchi. Okay? Now, Ibeabuchi was a serious heavyweight at the time. Unbeaten. Right? Unbeaten. Well, still unbeaten. He beat Chris Bird by KO. He won a unanimous decision against David Tua. You know, people were thinking him to be in the heavyweight mix, you know. People thought he would definitely challenge and be dangerous, you know, and possibly win a title, the world title. And he was dangerous in boxing, but not just in boxing. He was dangerous to women. You know what I'm saying? He was always getting into trouble, right? A couple of months after the David Tua fight, Ibeabuchi abducted the 15-year-old son of his former girlfriend. He crashed his car, which injured the boy. He got 120 days in jail and paid some settlement to the poor boy. He called himself a president, by the way. He's from Nigeria. But like a lot of big boxers, you see all these boxers, right? You check out their records on BoxRec and things like that. You know, I mean, I'm talking from wherever they were in the world, apart from like Japan, right? Wherever they are in the world, apart from the Far East, whether they're from Kazakhstan, China, like the Big Bang Zhalang, right? And all these other guys. They moved to the US and they stay there. Even guys that are not that good. Apparently, so what else is it? He wielded a knife. They had a dinner meeting in New York to discuss an HBO deal. And he got his knife out. A big, this is what it says, a big carving knife. And he slams on the table and goes, yeah, they know that these belts belong to me. He's obviously nuts, right? Obviously completely mad. He done 16 years in prison because he got a hooker, and you know, I don't know. She claimed she was just there to strip and not to get her nut on. I don't know about that, but he attacked her, beat her up. I don't know whether he raped her. It doesn't say so. You know, and he shut himself up in his room, and the police came, and all this kind of stuff. And he was ruled, bizarrely, he was ruled incompetent to stand trial because he was obviously mad. Well, he obviously is mad. You know? And he done 16 years in prison. And then he come out of prison. And he's now 51 years old, by the way, right? And he'd be talking about comeback. Weirdly enough, he's Nigerian, right? Weirdly enough, even though what he'd done, which was kidnap a woman and all this kind of stuff, attack the police, good on him. Good on him for attacking the police. But, and after 16 years, they didn't send him back to Nigeria. He didn't lose his residency. They allowed him to stay. And now he's fighting Kenzie Morrison, Tommy the Duke's son. And this is just crazy, man. So you got a 51-year-old guy who ain't boxed for like almost 20 years. Boxing, a decent, not brilliant, but a decent heavyweight. He's 34. So like what is he, 17 years younger? This boxing gets more and more ridiculous, man. They keep on bringing up these like ancient pensions. I think I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm sure I can knock out some bums. But in all seriousness, why do they keep on? The things like boxing is so corrupt, and there's no. See, if you're at FIFA, right? The football. If you play tennis, these are run strictly by organizations, and if you're not good enough, you can't play. You're whack. You can't enter the competitions. Why? Because you're whack and you're old and all this kind of stuff. But with boxing, it's unregulated. You got 4 major world championship bodies. You got all these promoters. You got all these minor promotional bodies. In America, like every state seems to have its own boxing association, and they'll let you do anything. They just let Jake Paul. He's not great, but he's 25 or 24. Box 58-year-old Mike Tyson. They let Mike Tyson box Roy Jones. They let Evander Holyfield get beaten up by Vitor Belfort. I repeat what I say every time. Boxing is the crack hole of the sporting world. It don't matter. You got the money and you got the crack and you do what you want. You can take hold of business. All right? So we got Kenzie Morrison with his Ibeabuchi. And it's one of those other things, like, one of the problems is, all these kind of weird fights, it's like watching a car crash, right? Or it's bad, right? Someone could get hurt. There's nothing positive in it, but you'll still look at it. I don't know who would pay for such a. Ibeabuchi was never like a massive name. Do you know what I'm saying? Not like Tyson or anything. He was a big name in boxing, as a prospect, but he's not like, outside of boxing, he's not a name. And the same thing with Kenzie Morrison. Of course, Kenzie is Tommy's son, but, that's a long time ago since Tommy Morrison was in his prime, man. It's the same old weird, crooked boxing nonsense. And we're going to put Kenzie Morrison, age 34, against Ibeabuchi, age 51. What'll happen? Well, come on, man. It's got to be Kenzie Morrison. He's not great, but he's scored a few good wins. He's got only 1 loss on points, and he's fighting a 51-year-old man who hasn't fought for more than 16 years, like almost 20 years and whatnot. It's embarrassing. And boxing gets more and more dirty and more embarrassing. And it's all about the money. But so is entertainment, It's no different from... Well, no, it is different from pro wrestling because, people can get killed in boxing. Having said that, people get killed in pro wrestling. What was that guy, Owen Hart? And in WWE, you get all these guys that die young. So many guys from steroid abuse, from coke, drugs, from steroids. So boxing is becoming more and more like WWE. And this is another one. My heart doesn't even sink anymore. It just cringes. And I'm like, oh, come on, man, not again. What's the other fight I talked about just recently? Yeah, the other one I've done a video on it. It's coming up, man. Evander Holyfield, of his age 62, his Mike Tyson, age 58. Apparently, they're trying to sort out their third fight. This is... boxing, I don't know how long boxing will last as a serious sport. Because, yes, we've got Turki Al-Sheikh, who makes good fights, right? But then we got all these nonsense. And the casual guys don't know no different. They don't know no different. To them, it's boxing. And they'll watch it. So, yeah, it's another nail, another big nail. Actually, probably just a small nail. There's so many nails in a coffin of professional boxing or any kind of boxing. It's just another nail in that coffin, man. But, yeah, like I said, it's a big coffin. It needs a lot of nails before it's truly done. Anyway, peace in the Middle East, guys. Enjoy.